About 3 months in from Mario Kart World's release, I've been carefully crafting my list for every base game track and ranking them. And I think I'm fully confident in my final list. Kind of. Look, it wasn't easy. There were a lot of new tracks that stuck out to me, plus the more refined look of previous retro courses coming back and looking stellar, also including the fact of how many paths and shortcuts and little secrets and just overall presence each track has in their open world. It's a lot to take in, but I took my time and tried to really take these courses apart and see what I liked and disliked between all 30 of them. Yes, I said 30. I know Crown City and Peach Stadium are used twice on Grand Prix with different alternate paths, but I'm not counting them. I'm ranking them solely on their 3-lap structure, which means I'm not going to talk about any intermissions between tracks either, and we all know you don't want to sit through that. Heck, I don't want to. What a stupid decision Nintendo made to keep that in online play. Let me choose a track that isn't close to the one we just raced on. I don't want to drive to that location. So, with that out of the way, let's see what Mario Kart World tracks I really enjoyed, and ones where I could easily roll my eyes in the back of my head. I think you already know where I'm getting with some of these lower tier tracks.
Man, I spent hours of my life stomping Koopas.
It is just an oval. Just an oval. Why does Nintendo think that we need more of these? Out of all the SNES courses you could have brought back, why this one? I mean, they're slim pickings, all of them are trash, but still. I don't think anything simple is gonna beat Baby Park with its loop layout, and Koopa Troopa Beach doesn't even come close. I guess the 5 laps around is a nice change of pace, it was like that in the original. But besides the beautiful scenery, there really is no pizzazz here. It's just a basic beachside track that has nothing to be hyped for. I do like the Koopa DJ at the starting line though. Watch out, Marshmallow, he's coming for your job, considering Marshmallow just voiced a random turtle in the new Smurfs movie.
Well, they're all going to die.
We don't do that here.
Out of all the desert tracks you could have picked, Desert Hills was the one you brought back? And I had to break it to you sports fans, but they really butchered the redesign here. I'm sorry, this is called Desert Hills, right? So, where's the hills? This is just straight up sand. I will give credit that they changed the theming from Super Mario Bros. 3 into Super Mario Land, with the new Toco Tocos replacing the Pokies, which is a nice callback to these guys. But that also meant getting rid of the Angry Sun. Not fun. And honestly, this is just bland. For an open world racing game, they really didn't do a whole lot to this particular course, just making it look empty and lifeless. This is the definition of dying in a stranded desert. In Minecraft. Yeah, the whole hill section of the original, making those tight turns, is all gone with just an open clear path at the end of the finish line, and it's pretty unsatisfying. Overall, a very forgettable course, and one that they should have left behind during early development.
It's Mario Kart.
When the world didn't need them, they decided to show up anyway. Mario Circuit, everybody. Yay! Now, instead of the usual Mario Circuit 3 showing up for the 44th time, this new iteration of the SNES track is all 3 Mario Karts combined for each lap, which is a nice change up. Although, if you were a fan of Mario Circuit 4 from Super Mario Kart, then you're out of luck. I guess Nintendo thinks that's a track that should not be named, because they didn't bother incorporating any elements of that track here. But really though, is anyone actually excited for another Mario Circuit track, let alone one that is about 30 years old now? The layout's pretty basic, although it's in a stadium now, and not in some empty area from a poor Dropbox. This kinda reminds me of those tracks from Crash Team Racing, with those stadium-themed tracks. Uh-oh, Mario is borrowing some homework, I see.
Cows don't like houses much. They prefer it out in the meadow.
This might make some people mad, but honestly, as much as I love Moo Moo Meadows, this does not need to be here. Boo! This is the 3rd time in a row that Meadows has shown up base game in a Mario Kart, and I'm just kind of on it. At least in Mario Kart 8 they changed the scenery a bit, with that evening or morning time zone with more elevation on the ground. But here, nothing really changed. Look, it's not a bad track by any means, I still quite enjoy it, but with so many other great tracks out there you can choose, especially in the Wii era, this kind of feels a little underwhelming. Oh well, at least they put this giant cow statue in.
I like cows.
This snow is beautiful. I'm glad global warming never happened.
It's funny how DK has 2 snow-themed levels to his name, yet Nintendo chose the one that has nothing going for it. I mean, you can say the same with DK Summit, not really fitting into DK style at all, but that was all themed around snowboarding and half-pipes. What does DK Pass have? A curvy road? and the devs really didn't do a whole lot to make it stand out from its DS original. It does kind of coincide with DK Summit a bit, adding skiing sections, but other than that, it's pretty much a standard snow level track. I would rather take this over Desert Hills though, since I think snow courses are a lot prettier to look at than a dull, empty desert. Although, DK Summit would have been the better choice here.
If Damien grabbed the shit, it's a tie, and you two
we become Mario Brothers.
Normally, I would rather skip the opening track from any Mario Kart game when playing online. It's usually just a starter course to get you into the basics and mechanics of each iteration. Toad Circuit from Mario Kart 7 showed off gliding. Luigi Circuit from Wii is just abysmal. And they all kinda have the same layout as small circuit themed aesthetics, with a small stadium and audience cheering you on. Mario Bros. Circuit is a whole different ballpark. This track definitely has that Route 66 vibe, driving around an Arizona dusty road. Plus, this gets you into rail grinding, the newest mechanic in the franchise. A great track to figure out tricks and jumps and shortcuts. It's still relatively low on the list, but for the first track for this game, it's one of the best starter tracks out there. Along with Mario Kart Stadium and Luigi Circuit. The Double Dash one, that is. Not that awful Wii version. Get that one out of here.
Get out of here, man.
Look at the stars.
God, this one hurts to put down this low, but I'm gonna say it. Starview Peak is all style, but no substance. Okay, positives. It's one of the more beautiful looking tracks in the game. The references to Super Mario Galaxy with the Star Brits, and of course the Observatory are highlights. Easily a better version of Rosalina's Ice World. But then we retrace back to Ice Ice Outpost with the two paths separating with different heights. Also, the water section in the middle of the track could have been a bit better too. Hey, I got an idea. Maybe give Rosalina an actual space-themed track instead of giving her these mid-snow levels. I mean, we're getting into the right track, but it's not enough to be good. The intermissions to get to Starview Peak are great though when racing in Grand Prix or Knockout Tour. I guess you can say it's beyond peak.
Got him!
Have a roughin' day.
The very last N64 track to be remade, and I have mixed feelings on this one. For starters, I do think it was a great idea to shorten this monster of a track. Back on the 64, this was way too long of a track, and it felt like a slog to race on. The unnecessary bumps and turns got reduced to a perfect size, which makes this more raceable. That being said, I'm not a huge fan of the dirt bike track aesthetics this franchise has. The whole presentation of Wario Stadium is kind of just whatever to me. There is a cool wall riding segment here, but I usually skip this one from time to time. What would have been a funny gesture is bringing back those crude images of Wario on the wall banners back in the N64. That definitely seems like something Wario himself would do.
Good afternoon, sir. Could we interest you in some chocolate?
Probably one of the more divisive tracks on this list, and let me tell you, I'm beyond disappointed. The original Choco Mountain back in the 64 had this hazy feeling to it, a calm and spacious mountain setting that had tons of fog to make the atmosphere feel more mysterious. Later iterations reduced the fog, but still kept that calm Choco feeling to the track. So what did Mario Kart World do to this underrated track? Make it more industrial, basing it off a freaking monster truck like Dirt Road Stadium course, because we definitely need more of those. I guess the charging trucks are nice enemies, and the music is actually pretty sweet. The electric guitar is infectious, but man, I kinda wish Nintendo renamed this track to something else and kept the regular Choco Mountain with its spacious mountain theme to itself. Heck, if they really wanted a good representative of the dirt bike track, they could have replaced Wario Stadium with this if they really wanted to. But yeah, we would probably have to wait another decade then for Wario Stadium to ever come back. So yeah, I guess Nintendo made a decent choice here.
Please come to the castle. I've baked a cake for you. Wink.
Another Mario Kart game, another Peach-inspired track that kind of resembles all of Peach's other circuit tracks. It's not bad per se, I like the layout a lot. There's a lot of good rail grinding tricks you can do here, and the setting kind of reminds me of a brighter version of Mario Kart Stadium. Thank goodness Nintendo let us drive on this again on the Special Cup, because man, that Shell Cup version of this track is downright despicable. One little loop to the end here? Not cool, Nintendo.
Ahoy there, matey.
One of the newer mechanics in Mario Kart World is the use of riding on top of water instead of on the ocean floor. While that may be accessible for this open world game, one returning track suffered in the process. Wario Shipyard definitely was a highlight in Mario Kart 7, not just with the cool purple and yellow colors, but also racing underwater going through the sunken ship. But now we're riding through a shipwreck in the middle of the ocean. On the surface, the visuals still look stunning. Although I prefer 7's more deep sea aesthetic, the change to switch to a broken pirate ship scattered in this ocean is a nice look. But then we get to actual gameplay, and I'm not all that satisfied. The writing ways kind of take away the charm that the original had for me. The timing for tricks can be a little annoying, but maybe that's just a skill issue on my part.
Yeah.
I like this part with the ship mast and cannon, but in general, I do miss the original track layout and scenery. Also, they got rid of Fishbone's beautiful face structure here and replaced it with a barely recognizable Wario cave face. Still think they should bring back that classic Wario banner though.
Damn! You dropped your crown, my king!
If Mario Bros. Circuit was a decent track for starting this game, Crown City takes it a step further with amazing tricks on rail grinding. This definitely has that Mario Kart Tour feel to it, with a random city that you drive in with a bunch of different paths that they want you to take. Except this time, we're not driving anywhere real. Get Mario out of New York, move from the city that never sleeps to the city that's always a king. I think the skyscraper section is worth mentioning, with the random rails making it fun to jump off each one. Yeah, it's a pretty decent track. I like it. Also, this track was used twice as well in Grand Prix, along with Peach Stadium, and was actually done right. You see that, Peach Stadium? You see that?
Oh, I love trains. A choo-choo.
Trains, trains, and more trains. Who doesn't love trains? Whistletop Summit definitely looked at Calamari Desert and was like, oh, you guys like the track that had that little train in the middle of the track? Well, here's a whole course based on trains.
Hey, you want to see something cool?
The Milwaukee Road.
Oh my goodness, what a blast! It's funny how rail grinding kept getting better from Mario Bros. Circuit to Crown City and now Whistletop Summit. And the shortcuts are some of the best too. The whole layout just flows really well, the theming is cozy and exhilarating at the same time. What can I say? It's trains.
Sherbert Hoover.
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a happy camper seeing this track come back. Like, out of all the newer booster course tracks from Mario Kart 8, this track was probably everyone's least favorite. Did Nintendo get the memo?
I think it's actually time for me to walk into the street.
Then I realized that Mario Kart World was in development for 8 years, which means that they were working on this track for a while, and probably just slapped it on Tour and World because it was a simple oval-shaped track to implement in their engine. And while it felt weird to race on in 8, Sky High Sundae was made to be on World. It all makes sense now. Those weird railings that gave you a speed boost, well, now they're for grinding. And the weird upward paths that felt oddly placed, well, now we have way more paths to take that don't feel weird at all. Everything that this track failed in 8 is perfected here. Fun routes to take, nice shortcuts, chaos in all the right way. Congrats, Sky High Sundae, you definitely redeemed yourself.
Alright, soldiers, you gotta blend in. Riverdance.
Wanna go to Venice? Well, while you wait, you can probably play this track to simulate your senses. Salty Salty Speedway has a nice vacation-like theme, but I'm going to have to complain a bit again, the wave riding. It's not as bad as Wario Shipyard since there's half a portion on the water, but I think it sucks that we have to start the race right on the water. So yeah, the boulevard sections on this course are the highlights here. A little simple, but there's nothing wrong with that.
The Cave of Wonders.
Cave of Wonders.
So, Super Mario Odyssey is probably one of my favorite games ever, and one level I am particularly fond of is the Wooded Kingdom, Steam Gardens. The atmosphere of the quiet forest leading up to the steampunk village with that killer jam of a tune. So, naturally, I was in shock when Dandelion Deaths took a little bit of inspiration here. An abandoned construction site, some of the exterior from the caverns, even the soundtrack here resembles a little bit from Steam Gardens. I especially love this underground cave where the water actually feels rewarding. Yeah, a pretty enjoyable track.
I'm the Donkey Kong champion of the world.
So, originally, DK Spaceport was a lot lower on my list.
You're weak.
I know, a fan favorite for some, but my original reactions were kind of mixed. The callback to the actual original arcade game Donkey Kong was awesome, and I'm glad that they incorporated this into a track. But honestly, I was pretty underwhelmed that this 6-lap track was being taken up by sections of the track, just going upward with pretty much going straight for a huge chunk of the track until you make a turn to the next straight line. But then I realized that's kind of the whole point, because each lap has a new challenge for you to partake in. You got barrels coming after you like the original Donkey Kong, you get this sick rail grinding section, this awesome wall grinding section, and to top it off, a mechanic Donkey Kong throwing barrels at you. It's essentially an ascending gauntlet of multiple things that prove your skill in-game. So yeah, while definitely not in my top 10, still a nice set piece here.
Hey, I'm a zebra.
You'd think the Mario Kart franchise would already have a safari-themed course at some point, but we finally get one in the form of Faraway Oasis. And my gosh, is it amazing! Now there are a couple of key elements I wish were incorporated in the track itself, like the lack of animals around the oasis, although most of them are outside the course, between intermissions. But I kinda wanted these guys to be roadblocks throughout the track. I want to see elephants and giraffes and zebras and water buffaloes, but even with the lack of striped horses, the overall gameplay is a vibe. the rushing waterfalls to the savanna background, the theme in general is immaculate. Great stuff.
Because you know how flammable old film stock is. What if your poor lady wife just burned?
If this track was a lot longer in layout, it would be a lot higher on this list, and that's what kind of holds this back. It is way too short for a great concept. As the name implies, Boo Cinema revolves around a haunted movie theater where you actually go into the silver screen, riding on the movie reel with a shocked Peach. And if you time your movements on the speed panels, a behemoth will show up in the background. It is honestly one of the most creative aspects in any Mario Kart game. So why the short hourglass layout then? Beats me, but you can also get to race through SNES Ghost Valley in the intermissions to get here, so that's another nice callback.
Hello, my name is Rick. I'm at the beach. I'm at the beach.
Holy cow, I did not expect Peach Beach of all courses to be up this high. But here we are. The original Peach Beach back in Double Dash was kind of a simple beach track with no real memorable moments. So the devs were probably like, you know what, let's up the ante on this track and actually make it stand out. Bam! Now you get this alternate path on the second lap and we actually race outside of the beach and inside this little town over here, racing up and down this nearby castle, gliding and grinding through buildings, before going back into the water and racing to the finish line. I will admit the third lap is pretty weak because, you know, the wave racing, but I would be dismissed if I didn't just adore the new layout here.
How bizarre!
The other desert track brought back and actually succeeds in doing so. Shy Guy Bazaar has been really popular with the speedrunners and online players alike, and it's not hard to see why. There are so many rail grinds here to master, and it's so satisfying to excel in them. The whole redesign now takes place around Sarasa Land, you know, Daisy's kingdom, with her palace nearby where you can actually drive to. I do kinda miss the original Mario Kart 7 aesthetic with just the Shy Guys and the nighttime vibe to it, but I'm not complaining with these new choices. In fact, they bettered the track in a major way.
I don't want the place, but the fishy on me. Gotta let the be, but I'll slap your knee.
I now have a reason to like Cheap Cheeps, and this track helped elevate it. A great presentation of feudal Japan with the pagodas and waterfalls, and just that feeling of mid-spring in the air. The area just looks so unique, both visually and sound-wise too. The score is perfection, and the water section is actually quite fun, although a bit challenging to do tricks and getting on those logs to rail grind on. I don't know, I just really vibe with this course.
What about Bowser?
Oh my gosh, the king has returned! Out of all the fan favorite Wii tracks, people have been itching for a new iteration of Toad's Factory, myself included, and boy did they deliver. And they didn't really do a whole lot with it either, probably because the whole layout itself was already amazing. But then you throw in the multiple tricks and grinds you can do, like with these random metal rails rising from the cranes. It's just faithful to its source material, and is an instant classic for many fans to enjoy.
That deer exploded. Dinosaur!
Ah, dinosaur! Fuck! No, he got me!
Now here's a fan favorite track that Nintendo brought back, but actually added more elements to it. Dino Dino Jungle was pretty magnificent on its own back in Double Dash, with the whole prehistoric dinosaur theme it had, but now World decided to make it a whole Jurassic Park type course, with the whole interior of the track becoming a laboratory instead of a cave. Plus, you get way more dinos now. This Triceratops can be used as ramps, these long-necked dinosaurs can be used as rail grinds, even this random T-Rex can attack drivers, even as a jump scare in the laboratory. Even the music is outstanding here too. A great glow-up of an already perfect track. Too bad Nazi didn't come back though. Hashtag justice for Nazi.
Bowser is coming.
It seems like some people are a little lukewarm on this new Bowser's Castle, but I quite like it. It's quite a fun track to race on, and actually quite challenging too. Something that every Bowser's Castle should be. The presentation is just perfect here. Launching from a lava fall into the eye of the storm is a very cool moment, and I like how the storm speeds things up a bit to make it more intense, especially with 24 racers. The castle itself is a bit short, only at the beginning of the course, but gives way to a high thrill chase of being up on top, resembling this large hill and volcano, and this awesome Bowser statue, departing from past Bowser robots. You also pass through the big donut battle course from Mario 64 in the intermission. Yeah, a very solid Bowser's Castle here, just for departing from previous Bowser cliches and having a great difficulty.
I'm saying the four of us should storm that castle and take it for ourselves.
Probably the best retro track here. A fan favorite from DS, and it looks glorious in beautiful HD. Already one of the best concepts based on the airship levels of Super Mario Bros. 3. You get those bonsai builds coming straight for you in the beginning of the track, followed by the actual boardwalk with the rocky wrenches, and the new inclusion of rail riding is perfect. What can I say? An already great track that finally got its home console debut.
Dear God, it's beautiful.
Now, I've been hearing a lot of talk saying that this is the best Rainbow Road in the entire franchise, and while I don't really agree with that, I'm more fond of 7's rendition. This is definitely a huge step up from 8's version. In fact, this Rainbow Road takes elements from previous versions and combines them to make a masterclass of a track. And definitely grandiose at that. I have to mention the Grand Prix version here, leaving Peach Stadium in the water, traveling to that huge star before being shot up to the midnight sky, and seeing those dazzling colors. That new nostalgia just hits. There's this really atmospheric vibe around the second lap with the misty waters, definitely reminds me of the Fountain of Dreams from Smash. Then you get into the zero gravity section with thwomps and zigzagging paths, all culminating in this epic finale, with the swirly comet colors and this giant train full of zany characters you encounter throughout this game. The beautiful visuals and the incredible music just come together to make such a spectacular track. My favorite Mario character finally gets his own track, and it's freaking epic. And no, I don't count Bone Dry Dunes as his track.
Oh, I am out? Good. Leave.
This whole course being around the Day of the Dead is such a unique idea, and there are so many alternate paths and routes to take. Every lap feels like something different, as you can always switch up between paths and take different routes with hidden rail grinds that can lead to wall jumps that lead to even newer paths to take. Like, wow, they were really cooking with this track. Oh, the Nintendo gods bless us Dry Bones fans with such a banger track. We were really eating good with this one. Now, please, just give us the poor dead Koopa some costumes, please.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees.
One of my favorite Mario Kart tracks of all time is Maple Tree Way. Its autumn setting with the winding tree road and the giant wigglers and just overall red and brown colors and aesthetics is just so warm and fun to race on. And to my surprise, Acorn Heights kind of hits that sweet spot for me. More of a springtime course in my eyes, this course takes place in the treetops, much like Maple Tree Way, but explores more by going down to the roots of the tree, sliding on this river, and going through multiple paths with these large acorns rolling down. And hey, Wigglers are back. Big plus, it's always Wiggler Wednesday in my eyes. Yeah, definitely a personal favorite for me. Maybe won't be higher on others' list, but I feel this is a very underrated track.
Don't question me!
Alright, I don't think anybody didn't see this coming. Already a fan favorite for so many, and it's not hard to see why. I mean, look at this place. A high sky island of ruins with so many tricks to pull off. I mean, seriously, look at some of these time trials online. They are insane. Definitely the most technical track in the game, and for good measure. If you're a casual or hardcore fan, there's so much to enjoy, so many paths to try out, so many shortcuts to master. What a great visual looking track too. That giant question block in the middle is so cool. It definitely gives the whole track some sort of mystery to it. Just a top-notch track all around, and currently my favorite of all 30 tracks in the game. And look, we all know this will get DLC at some point, which I will definitely rank separately in a future video. But overall, do you agree with my ranking? Did anything stand out to you? What's your favorite Mario Kart World track so far? I would love to know in the comments.